You sat on the edge of your bed, holding your phone in your hand, contemplating calling Jungkook first. You never wanted to leave him, not like this, anyways. You just wanted to see what your life would be like if your father wasn't in it. What it felt like to not fear every minute of being in that house. But it gave you some clarity. You guessed that your brothers were raised to be exactly like your father, but they are all different versions. Yoongi is the strength, Jin is the cruelty, Hobie is the name, Jimin is the quiet, Namjoon is the paranoid. They all have traits that they took from your father, whether they know it or not. You shouldn't have to apologize for wanting to go home, but you will if it stops both of your fights and arguments. You will apologize every time if you have to, because you love him and he loves you. He's hurt and think that you was going to leave him, but that's not what happened at all. You was going to reject your brother's offer face to face so that it wasn't done over a stupid phone call, although maybe that would have been a better idea. You don't want to lose the only good thing you have ever had because you was too stubborn to apologize. It was 9 p.m. Taeyong stood outside of Jungkook's mansion door nervously. He's going to kill me. Taeyong smacked his forehead, probably thinking that he was stupid for doing this. Let me in, Taeyong. You held the door handle. Taeyong glanced at you, giving you an unassured look before opening the door. Jungkook wouldn't be suspicious of someone coming in because all the inner circle have keys to his house, which is quite dangerous. Now, that what you think about it? You wandered up the stairs, walking past Jungkook's office to see that he wasn't in it. You stopped at his room and your heart was pounding. How would he react to you coming here? It's been almost 3 days. He must miss you too. After all, he is the clingy one. I'm joking. Both of you are equally clingy. You pressed your ear against Jungkook's door. There was no noise. It was so quiet. You could probably hear a pin drop. He sleeps when he is badly injured. It's the only time he sleeps, to be honest. Ice appeared out of nowhere. You just gave him a nod. I loved you. I love you. He suddenly spat out. It's like a weight was instantly lifted off of his chest. I knew you had feelings for me, but I didn't know that you were in love with me. You frowned your eyebrows at him. Who wouldn't be in love with you? He gave you a slight smile. I just thought I would tell you before I leave. Ice shrugged, walking away. Where are you going? You spoke quietly, but you was eager to know. I'm going to go lead one of Jungkook's smaller bases in California. I probably won't be back. At least I got to see you one last time. He looked upset, but still had a smile plastered on his face. Eyes, no. You shook your head, letting it fall. See you around, Ryan. He walked down the stairs. You waved him goodbye before placing your hand on the door. You opened it only for the door to creak, causing you to cringe. He was asleep, laying on his bed with his whole battered and bruised body spread across it. He lay on his stomach while he had his arm under his pillow and his legs stretched across the bed in opposite directions. He doesn't even have to use the blanket since he is always so warm. Jungkook had only his underwear on. You smiled softly at him at peace for once. You had never witnessed him actually sleep. He let out a snore, making you giggle quietly. In that moment, you forget that you were fighting or that you hurt him. You think you should just leave him to sleep. He doesn't get a lot of it anyways. Your apology can wait. You turn around to leave before you heard him speak. Wyan, he muttered, half asleep, still laying in the same position. The only difference was that his eyes were open. I was just going to leave. You mumbled quietly, struggling to control your breathing. He didn't reply. Instead, you could hear his even breaths. Stay, he whispered in almost a breath. You glanced at his body with a sad expression. He was hurt, pretty badly too, because of you. You took off your jacket and all your clothes and threw on a t-shirt and your shorts. You climbed in beside him, pulling the blankets over you. Jungkook groaned in pain as he pulled you close to his body. Both of your bodies were pressed against each other. He was extremely warm. I'm sorry, I would never leave you. I just wanted to decline face to face, that's all. You mumbled, stroking his hair. I'm sorry too, he mumbled with his eyes closed. Are you tired? You whispered, receiving a nod from him in response. You can sleep. I'm here. You kissed his forehead before he grabbed your cheek, pressing his lips against yours, with his eyes still shut. Then he snuggled his head between your chin and neck, causing you to wrap your hands around his head. I can't get enough of you. He mumbled. You felt his breath against your chest, which sent tingles up to your spine. I love you, he whispered. Love you too. You said quietly, a smile slowly spreading across your face. His words made the hair on the back of your neck stand up. You don't think you will ever get used to him telling you that he loves you. Sleep now, baby. You hushed him while holding him tight. He hummed in response. A few minutes passed, and you could feel that his breathing had become even again, signaling that he was asleep. Your eyelids were becoming heavier by the second, and within 2 minutes you had fallen asleep too, holding your love of your life in your arms. There is no better place, there is no better person for you. You woke up to the sound of footsteps, but then you realized that Jungkook was still in your arms. Suddenly, your heart started to pound in your chest. You reached over to the side of the bed and pulled out your biggest throwing knife that you had previously wedged in between the bed and the frame a few nights ago. You had one less knife when it came to throwing, but it gave you peace of mind when you slept. You was in Jungkook's shirt and a pair of his shorts. You could hear the light footsteps approaching the bedroom door from the corridor. How did you even wake up from them? They are so light that you could barely hear them. Then you realized that you had just woken up from a nightmare. The footsteps were just coincidence. There was only one person by sound of the footsteps. You saw Jungkook, who was sound asleep. You shouldn't wake him. He needs his rest. But who is walking around? You glance at the time, 5 a.m. No one is allowed in Jungkook's house after 12, except for Ice or Taeyong and you. You know this because you live here. Fuck, you was panicking. It was probably ice, but you knew that it wasn't ice as soon as your bedroom door creaked open because everyone would have knocked due to fear of Jungkook beating his ass. You shut your eyes, pretending that you were sleeping. You heard the faint footstep approaching the bed. You clutched your throwing knife tight from under the blanket as adrenaline rushed through your veins. You slowly opened one of your eyes to see someone holding a gun towards Jungkook's head, ready to kill him in one swift. You could only see the shadow of the figure since it was so dark. If you was going to throw this knife, it would have to blind. Before they had the chance to shoot, you sent your knife scaring through the air, hoping that it would hit them in time to stop whoever it was from shooting Jungkook. They froze, one of their hands raising to their chest. You did it. Jungkook jumped, realizing someone was in the room, showing them to the ground. Taeyong, Jungkook roared, his scream echoing through the house. You hear Taeyong sprint to the room, open up to the door, and turn on the light. You froze when you saw who it was. Jin. Your knife was in his chest as he just stared at you with widened eyes. Oh, Oppa! Your lips quivered as you stared at him on the floor. His eyes glanced from you to his chest before he grunted in pain. Oppa, you screamed, scrambling to get out of the bed while Jungkook just stood frozen. Oppa, you wept, holding him in your arms. You were always good at throwing knives. He smiled as he struggled to breathe, blood trickling down the side of his cheek from his mouth. I'm sorry, you mumbled, sobs escaping your mouth. You was unable to control them. You covered your mouth, muffling your cries as you held him in your arms. You tried desperately to stop the bleeding. I deserve this, Vian. Let me go. Each of Jin's blink became longer while he struggled to stay awake. Why are you standing there? Go get the doctor. You shouted at Jungkook with tears streaming down your face. Jungkook just stared at you with slightly widened eyes to show you that he was shocked at the situation in front of them. Taeyong sprinted out to get the doctor. I'm not that 13-year-old boy anymore, Ryan. I'm a bad man. I have done a lot of bad things. Jin gasped for air, trying to talk. I'm sorry for letting father abuse you for so long. I should have stopped him. Jin mumbled, a single tear rolling down his cheek. You was a mess. You may hate Jin now, but you will never hate your older brother, who you used to adore. The big brother who would bring you to the park and teach you how to play video games with him. The big brother who taught you how to throw knives and defend yourself even though you never used it. I can't. I just can't. You weep, trying to hold your breath so that you didn't sob again. I have always loved you, my little sister, he mumbled before closing his eyes for the last time and releasing his final breath. No, Oppa. Your eyes widened in shock. You started shaking his head, but he didn't wake up. No, no, no. You whimpered painfully as Jungkook pulled you away from his body. He's gone, Jungkook. You sobbed uncontrollably. He's gone. You sobbed again into Jungkook's chest. He had his arms wrapped around you tight, holding your head to his chest. It's okay, Jungkook whispered soothingly, kissing the top of your head while rubbing big circles on your back with his other hand. He's dead. I killed him. I killed my own brother. The realization was only hitting now. You killed your own brother. If your other brothers are going to know this, they want your head on a silver platter. You sobbed uncontrollably, begging Jungkook to take the pain away, but he couldn't. You could have sworn you saw him tear up. Jungkook scooped his arm under your leg and the other around your back, lifting you effortlessly onto the bed. Take him. Jungkook nodded at Taeyong and the doctor. No, we can save him. You shrieked, about to jump at Taeyong, who was about to take your brother's body, only to be held back by your boyfriend. He's gone. There's no saving him. He spoke weakly, not wanting to break your heart. It hurt so bad. You croaked, trying to stop yourself from crying. You felt so guilty. You felt like a monster. You felt like your father. Maybe you was wrong about only your brothers having the personality traits of your father. Maybe you have some too. You curled up into a ball on the bed with Jungkook trying to soothe your pain, but he couldn't, not this time. Taehyung picked up the gun from the ground and shook his head. Jungkook, he muttered, showing him the handgun. Jungkook glanced at the gun and back to you. She saved my life. Jungkook sounded hurt. She shouldn't have to save my life. She shouldn't have to kill her brother. Where's our fucking guards? Jungkook snapped angrily. You don't get to be angry right now. Comfort your girl. Taehyung scoffed after rolling his eyes before walking out. Jungkook lay next to you, slipping his hand under your jumper and held you. They are going to kill me, you wept, staring at the wall. Jungkook took his hand out from his jumper that you was wearing and forced your body to turn to him. He had a crease in between his eyebrows and a serious look on his face. I won't ever let any one of them hurt you. Do you hear me? And if they even place a finger on you, I'll burn their house to the ground with them in it. Jungkook paused, realizing what he had just said. Only if you want me to, he added, his anger fading away in fear that he had hurt you more. You stared at him. You needed a distraction. Losing them would be bad, but I couldn't live if I lost you. You mumbled to him, wanting to touch him, but you couldn't, due to the blood on your hands. A moment of silence passed, with just staring into each other's soul. Kiss me, you whispered, Jungkook giving you an eyebrow raise. What's that for? You smiled so slightly at his eyebrows raise that he probably didn't notice due to his focus on the tears that were still flowing down your face. Well, when we kiss on the bed, I'll admit that I usually get dirty thoughts, and I don't think you are in the right mind frame to have sex right now. But I really want to kiss you, and if I don't, I might go crazy and I'm rambling, aren't I? He talked really fast. Just kiss me. He pressed his lips against yours slowly and gently. He knew you liked the slow kisses. Both of your kiss eventually turned into a makeout. Jungkook's tongue brushed against yours as you both moved in sync with each other. You both knew all of each other, and you think that when you both were fight, you both forget. No one will ever love each other as much as you both do. He broke the kiss, wiping away your tears that were still falling. Do you want to watch a movie? Jungkook spoke after clearing his throat. You nodded slightly while staring blankly at the blood on the floor. Your brother's blood. You had forgotten that his blood was still on your hands.